Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? Now, if you're just joining us, we have been in a new series called Books of the Bible, where we are giving introductions into each of the Bible's books in just 5 minutes or less. So, without further ado, let's get started. This week's introduction is in the book of Joshua, which is the first of the 12 historical books of the Old Testament. And those are going from Joshua through the book of Esther. The book forges a link between the Pentateuch and the remainder of Israel's history. Jewish tradition actually assigns the author of the book to Joshua himself. However, the ending of the book may have been written by Phinehas, who is the grandson of Aaron and who was actually an eyewitness to the events that were recounted in the book. Now, although Joshua wrote the book, the precise date for the writing, that has been an uncertainty, but many scholars actually place it between 1405 BC and 1383 BC. The book of Joshua derives its name from the author, and the name Joshua or Yeshua means Yahweh is salvation and is the Hebrew equivalent of the name Jesus. Now, because the book was written to assure the Israelites the living God would reward obedience, and also to record the entrance and the conquest of the promised land, the book can be divided into two principal sections. The first section is recording the conquest of Canaan in chapters 1 through chapter 12, and this has a time frame of about 7 years. The second section of the book describes the assignment of the 12 tribal territories throughout the Promised Land, and this is read in chapters 13 through chapter 24, and this has a time period of roughly 8 years. Now, one of the main themes of the book of Joshua is trusting God to be faithful. We see this when the people of Israel, who conquered and reclaimed the promised land by faith, well, they were an encouragement to every Israelite because the journey and task that was actually set before them seemed almost impossible, but they trusted God. The principal setting of the book is in Canaan, the promised land, but you're also going to visit some other places such as the Jordan River, Jericho, Gilgal, and Gibeon. Also in chapter 20, you're going to read about 6 different kinds of cities that were called the cities of refuge, and they are Kadesh, Golan, Ramoth, Bezer, Hebron, and Shechem. And these were cities that were designated throughout the land of Israel in the Old Testament times in order to provide a safe haven for people who killed others by accident. Now, as you progress through the book, you're also going to read about several miracles that God performed, such as the parting of the Jordan River in chapter 3, the shouting down of the walls in Jericho in chapter 6, and God making the sun and moon stand still in the sky after hearing Joshua's prayer, and you'll see that in chapter 10. The book has many key players, such as Joshua, Rahab, Achan, Phinehas, Eleazar, but most importantly, God. Now, the book of Joshua is a book that records Joshua's leadership of the people of Israel as they complete their journey into the promised land of Canaan. And through Joshua, they came to understand that God's way ultimately sets the standard for their success. Now, I hope that this brief introduction into the book of Joshua is going to help get you excited about reading the first of the 12 historical books of God's Word. So God bless, and thanks for watching.